All right, today was by far the longest San Francisco 49ers training camp practice of them all, and as we know, a lot of stuff going on with the 49ers versus Broncos joint practices. It was actually pretty good to see the boys out there balling. I think one of the highlights of today was seeing some of the former San Francisco 49ers players, Talanoa Hufanga, Dre Greenlaw, DJ Jones, and Mike McGlinchey. So it's cool to see those former Niners out there back on the field. There's a cool moment there at the end of practice. You had Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner just sitting on the turf. Dre's son out there playing with them. You know, Kittle comes over, and it's just those boys are still family, and it's cool to see them in action, still hanging out, still doing all that good stuff. But in regards to today's practice, I think some of the things that stand out the most are the potential injuries that went down. You had Mykel Williams have a scare. He went down. Fred Warner took a knee next to him. John Lynch comes out to check on him. According to Kyle Shanahan, early exams indicate that they're good, and that it does appear that Mykel just hyperextended his knee. So as it currently stands, it seems like they were able to avoid any serious damage. But again, it's always scary when you see a 49ers player like Mykel, who is going to get a lot of run and who's going to be out there and expected to be leaned on heavily, go down in practice. You had another scare almost directly after that. I think it was Marquise Siegel, who had appeared to be injured as well, but he was able to walk off on his own along with Mykel, and so those guys seem like they're going to be okay. But we did get some updates from Kyle Shanahan. Jordan James had broke his finger apparently and is expected to miss a couple weeks, which is unfortunate because now that means you have Jordan James down, Guerendo down. Obviously not an ideal situation there. So we'll see how that continues to play out. And then you have Jordan Elliott, defensive tackle, dealing with some back issues, is expected to be back next week. So, you know, the injury bug, man, that's one of the biggest things from these practices. Just get out healthy. Again, I think that's the most important thing. Obviously, we want to know, and we'll get into it, who had good practices and who wish they had some better days. But overall, just want to get out of there healthy. And with the Niner truck, she secured the George Kittle signature today, so that was a win. That was crazy, like a madhouse out here. But let's get into some of the practice stuff. I want to start with some of the highlights because full honesty, it wasn't the best practice for the San Francisco 49ers. I would give the overall advantage to the Broncos. But let's start with some of the highlights from today. You had, I think Jordan Watkins arguably was the best offensive player of today, which honestly I wasn't really expecting, considering the fact he's been up and down throughout training camp. Like, he's had his moments, he's flashed, but over the last 2 days, it really does seem like he's starting to settle in. He's moving faster. He's moving with more, I don't know how to, there's something about people's body language when you can tell they're new, they're young, they're learning a system, they're not moving confidently, and then boom, all of a sudden you see Jordan Watkins and he's out here flying around making plays. He was making plays in one-on-ones. He had a deep route, go ball. He beat the DB. There was some contact about 20 yards downfield, and then he was able to separate and score a touchdown. And yay, what up? Let's go. Yes, sir. And so Jordan Watkins today was balling. The best rep that he had was beating Patrick Surtain on a slant route where it was in red zone period, so it was as a team drill. and Jordan Watkins just beats inside across Patrick Surtain's face. Brock Purdy delivers a dime right to Watkins for a touchdown. I mean, there were just multiple plays. Watkins was making plays all over the field today. So one of the most consistent playmakers and one of the better playmakers for the San Francisco 49ers. George Kittle, automatic, man, in that like 5 to 10 yard range on outs and slants and over the middle. Kittle to Brock is pretty automatic. And that was solid. Brock to Ricky, a little shaky at times. One of the better throws for Brock today was Ricky running like it was like a go route, tight down the right sideline. And it was a situation like, let's say my daughter's in coverage, get like right on my back hip. Like it was tight coverage, and Brock dropped it right in the bucket, only where Ricky could snag it, and it was pretty solid. So it was a really good pass from Brock, really good catch by Ricky. We got Levi's in the background. I know this place is going to be filled up on Saturday night against the Broncos, and I'm excited to see that matchup because I think the Broncos got the better of the San Francisco 49ers today. But let's get through some of the highlights, then we'll get to some of the lowlights. Because honestly, I think there's a couple more lowlights than highlights, but I thought Tariq Owens showed well. Colton McKivitz had 2 wins and one-on-ones versus Baron Browning. I thought that was pretty impressive. It was really hard to see O-line, so we saw a lot more wide receiver versus DB. Fred had a PBU in one-on-ones. And then you had D Ford. I keep saying D Ford. D Winters. Man. D Winters on a deep route in coverage, locking up guys. D Winters has been one of the players who stood out the most, I would say, from 49ers training camp. You know, a guy I wanted to see, but I was kind of hesitant just because I hadn't seen it yet. And I think he's one of the biggest, most improved players of 49ers training camp. Look at all those signatures on that. And he's a guy who's making plays all day. I mean, he is so fast and he is so physical. So it was super cool to see, man. D Winters continuing to ball out, continuing to fly. He's everywhere. Again, when he makes contact, it pops. And, you know, D, in my opinion, was one of the better defensive players out there today. In one-on-ones, Pearsall kind of got locked up by Patrick Surtain. But after that, he came back and beat everyone he won against. So he got his redemption. I thought that was pretty solid. Upton Stout had an interception on one-on-ones. Robbie's getting more involved. Robbie Anderson, or I guess Robbie Chosen, is getting more involved in the offense. He's seeing some run with the ones. I saw Colby, again, not a great look at the O-line, but one rep, I saw Connor Colby toss number 91 for the Denver Broncos. Thought that was nice. You had Robinson beat Surtain in one-on-ones. Hodgins quietly had a nice day as well, both in one-on-ones and team period. So I would say today was Isaiah Hodgins' best day as a 49er. I thought that was pretty solid. But let's get into some of the team stuff. I would say this definitely wasn't Brock Purdy's best practice of training camp. He's definitely had better days. I think he had more throws that he wished he could have back than great ones, because I think, you know, for guys like me who study Brock and watch almost everything he does, I just feel like he was off today. multiple overthrows that, again, just weren't catchable. He had I think one of the most egregious ones was to Ricky Pearsall, who was open on a slant in the back of the end zone, and the ball sailed like 10 yards over Ricky's head. It was uncatchable, and I was kind of surprised by it, to be honest. And, you know, there was a lot of pressure around Brock all day today. You know, a lot of sacks, a lot of holding onto the ball, just a lot of stuff that hasn't been very normal, if that makes sense. So it wasn't my favorite day by the 49ers offense. No Trent Williams out there. Trent was he started out there, but he didn't participate in any team. I don't think he participated in one-on-ones. You know, it wasn't the offense's day. Now, it doesn't mean they didn't make plays, but we all know that the defense that the 49ers starting offense was going against was like a top 5 unit. I mean, Talanoa Hufanga doing Talanoa Hufanga things. There was one play where it was an end around. Talanoa would have absolutely obliterated Ricky Pearsall on that end around at around the line of scrimmage. Again, a lot of deflections, a lot of sacks, a lot of, you know, Brock Purdy holding the football. Mac Jones got sacked a ton. So again, it wasn't my favorite. If I'm being perfectly honest with you, I've seen Brock Purdy play better. I've seen Brock Purdy get the ball out of his hands faster. I've seen Brock Purdy be accurate. And it's not to say that it was every throw and every rep was like that. I would just say the majority of Brock's throws were not ideal. So overall, like I said, I'm giving the edge to the Denver Broncos. I think they earned that. I think they had a little bit more juice today. Again, one thing that I do want to point out is it's just one practice. Just because Denver had today doesn't mean that the 49ers are cooked or washed or any of these things. Just keep that in mind. This is just an objective review of what happened today. And again, as I mentioned, there were some highlights. The biggest concern, I would say, from today was the lack of running game. It was just stopped. The biggest runs of today, I think, came from Patrick Taylor, and both of them were by Patrick Taylor. And again, there's just so much in the wash. It was so hard for these guys to find running lanes because there weren't any. And, you know, just unfortunately, that's the way it went down today. They weren't able to get free on the edges. So there just really wasn't a ton of opportunities to be successful in the run game. I would say one of the better passes of today was a Mac Jones deep ball to Robbie Anderson down the middle in between bracketed coverage. Robbie just goes up and snags it. It was